All right. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here for Demand 2023. 2023 has been a pretty exciting year when it comes to AI, in particular with the release of ChatGPT and the AI craze that really ensued from that. I think boardrooms this year have been filled with, um, you know, conversations about AI, and I think it's really critical as marketing leaders to have a plan on how to leverage AI. And hopefully, this session will give you some good pointers to kick off your strategy internally. Overall, the big things that I want to talk about today are really just that AI is really just another tool. I think it's really important that we demystify a little bit what AI really is and its capabilities, and you know, move away from the doom and gloom that we've been talking about. I want to share a couple examples of tools that we've used internally that leverage AI. Some of the results that we got from it that hopefully can help you kickstart initiatives internally. And then I do want to share a little bit about how I see the future around this, because I think there's some really exciting things that are coming up. So before I start, I wanted to give a quick intro as to who I am. So I'm the co-founder and chief product officer at Mad Kudu. Um, I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of the leading brands in B2B SaaS, specifically working on helping them improve their go-to-market motions, leveraging data and, of course, AI and machine learning. I'm a massive fan of Nick Cage, as everyone internally at Mad Kudu knows. And for those of you who've never heard of a Kudu before, I did want to share a little story here that will also illustrate how AI is deeply embedded in Mad Kudu. So Kudu is an antelope like the one you're seeing on the screen here. And when we started the company with my co-founder, we were really struggling to find a name for the company. And as good nerds and data scientists that we are, we decided to write an algorithm to pick the name of the company. And so we optimized for SEO, the cost of the domain, and all that stuff, combining adjectives and nouns together. And Mad Kudu came up as number one. So that's how we came up with the name of the company. So as you can tell, like, AI is really at the, a core pillar of Mad Kudu. And the other pillar is beyond AI is really go to market. And I think that's why I'm excited to be here at Demand 2023 to talk about AI for marketing leaders. Because for the past few years, we've been helping awesome B2B companies inform their go-to-market automation. And it's been a journey to see how things have evolved. And more importantly, it's been exciting to learn from the best and see what they're doing. I think there's a lot of exciting and interesting knowledge out there of how companies are working on making the process of selling more human and leveraging a lot of data in a smart way to be as relevant as possible. I'll just take one example, but Unity and their a game development engine. One of the really smart things that they're doing is they're looking through job offers to look for any mentions of specific technologies that either relate strongly to their value prop, or even looking for mentions of Unity within the tech stack of the hiring company. And so that's been super helpful for them to make sure that whoever they reach out to is going to be a good prospect. And I guess like one of the common you know things that I've seen through all of these companies is that it's always about using data in a smarter way. And I think that's where I see huge potential for AI. And there's been a lot of drama, I feel, this year around AI. Like we're talking about how AI is going to be stealing jobs. It's like, oh, it's going to, generate the next apocalypse. So we even have Elon Musk talking about how, AI is more dangerous than nukes. Um, but ultimately, the way I see it is really AI is just a tool today, and it probably will stay that way for a long time. There's been a couple of these cycles that we've been through where something shows up and all of a sudden we feel like it's the next big disruptor. But it really isn't more than a tool. I really think it's critical that you help your teams understand this, that it's not there to take their jobs. And that being said, while AI isn't necessarily going to take their jobs, it will definitely lead to extinctions of companies and unfortunately um, employees and leaders who are not able to keep up with the pace. Right, no matter how we feel about the competitive edge it might provide, and if we think it's fair or not. Just companies are going to be using AI. Customers are going to expect you to use AI to make the experience better. And so it's really critical that you train your team and you start building that muscle internally on how to figure out what is a good use case for AI, when to use it, how to use it, and so that you're able to adopt it really quickly and not fall behind. And so one of the things I wanted to provide today is a bit of a framework that I've been using internally and that I've been sharing with customers on when to use AI. So in my mind, there's really two fairly different and relevant places where AI can be used. And in one case, it's really about driving creativity. And on the flip side, one use case is more about scaling automation further than what we can today with a set of rules. And what's really interesting is that they're very different in terms of the requirements, right? So when you're looking at sparking creativity, you're typically looking at something where you have a low maturity around the idea. You're still very unclear as to what you're trying to do. You're not looking for something high fidelity, right? You're looking for a low fidelity set of ideas and something that's very transferable, right? Something that's not core to your IP or that's very specific to your business. And examples of that are when you're brainstorming for campaigns. And this is something that I've seen a lot of companies do where they're trying to figure out, oh, what would be a good way to engage with CFOs? And so just go into ChatGPT and write, oh, what are good ways to engage with this? And it's going to spit out a list of 10 things you could do, right? Like go attending to conferences or doing this or doing that. What's interesting there, it's like highly transferable. Like every company is kind of thinking the same way. It's low fidelity. Like this isn't a roadmap to your marketing strategy, but it might give you some ideas that you can start with. And so I think on that side, really like brainstorming is super helpful. Another one is really testing landing page variations, right? So asking, for example, ChatGPT or any of those AIs to like spit out like what would be a good landing page variation if we wanted to take this landing page and actually make it relevant to this industry or that industry. And whatever is spit out should not be what you put on your website directly, but it might give you some ideas. And so it's really helpful to get your brain juices flowing. And so on the other side, when we're talking about automation, now we're talking about how do we scale beyond rules that might be pretty heavy. And so that's where you typically have a high maturity of the idea. There's like high repeatability. It's something that you've been doing a lot, but it is highly variable, right? Like this is something where each of the things you want to automate might have a high degree of variability, so you can't just have a dumb automation do this. And that's where AI really, really shines. Like email personalization is typically one of those. Like everyone has sent, like we've sent millions of emails. We know that it's repeatable. We know what we want to put in them, but like we need high variability where every email has to be slightly different. And that's an area where AI can shine. So really those are kind of the two areas and how you can use that framework to determine when to use AI. One kind of word of warning here, I will say, just like keep the focus on building something that people want and don't go down. There's a little bit of a pitfall of like starting to build things just because it's cool and sexy and having the technology drive the roadmap rather than having the needs drive the roadmap. So don't ever fall into that trap. And I think it's really important to go back to why you're doing what you're doing, and the how should, answer the why and not the other way around. So maybe jumping into a couple examples of things that we've used internally that I think could be relevant to a lot of you. So Voice Pen is a tool that I've used, very helpful to draft written content pieces from audio recordings, right? Podcasts, webinars, anything of the sort. It's like you need high fidelity. It's something that we've all done in the past, like downloading the transcript and then rewriting or having someone on Fiverr do it. There's high variability where every um, podcast is slightly different. VoiceBend is like a pretty cool tool to do that. We just upload the video and you can tell it what is the theme that you want to extract, how long you want it to be, what kind of a content piece you want it to be, and it will write that content. What's super helpful is that it can generate that content. I mean, it just like reduces dramatically the time spent to do this. Gong recordings is another great one. If you're not doing it, you absolutely should be extracting insights from customer calls to understand what's going on. It's like, again, high fidelity, something that you're doing, high variability. Every call is different, and something that is critical to disseminate, the voice of the customer throughout the organization. Metadata came out with a really cool report on things that they're seeing around ads, and one of the things that they found was that creatives with like people work really well. And so that's something where a tool like Midjourney can be really, really helpful to run campaigns and to generate these creatives. So highly recommend you check that out to generate these pieces of the creatives. Then Math Kudu, obviously, we do a lot of work on researching leads and accounts to figure out what are the most relevant plays. This is one where, again, like reps spend a lot of time doing it. So it's like high fidelity, but every account is different. So you have a lot of variations there. So hopefully these are like kind of 4 tools that are relevant to try out and bring into your tech stack. And again, the idea is just like to like give you some ideas of areas where you can bring AI on. But ultimately, I'll recommend kind of think about all the jobs to be done in your space and where you can use AI to automate some of it. And maybe the last thing I'll let you with is the future is really interesting, right? We've seen areas where you can start training AI agents to act as your personas, which will be super helpful to train your team and actually test your messaging. So this is something I would say, like, keep your ears open, because this is something that you will see coming out and will be super helpful to test messaging in a way that was never possible before. So thanks a ton for tuning in. I know this was a lot to digest. Hopefully I've answered most of your questions in the comments, but looking forward to connecting, and let me know if you have more questions in the comments. I'll be here for a couple more minutes. So thanks a ton, and talk to you very soon.